Hello, welcome. So today we're going to be looking at r/best of Redditor updates, and we have a bit of a bully of a husband today. So if that's something you want to get annoyed with whilst we unpack it with me today, then please do stick around and enjoy. And don't forget to like and subscribe, please. Thank you. So this was posted to the subreddit by Direct Caterpillar 77, and the title says, "My 31F husband, 41M, makes mean jokes and I want to help him stop before we have children." Already a red flag that you feel you need to help him stop being an a-hole. Like, wow. Can't wait to get into this one. So, of course, Direct Caterpillar is not the original OP. The original OP is on the screen and where it was originally posted. So we do have trigger warnings today, trigger warnings for verbal abuse and emotional abuse. So if that's something that you can't deal with, then feel free to dip out now. There is many other videos that you can go and have a look at instead. Okay, so originally posted January 7th, 2022. So grateful to have found this community and hoping that getting some outside opinions on my situation will help me understand things and figure out how to address this in a constructive way with my husband. I, 31F, have been with my husband, 40s M, for 10 years, now married. I always knew I wanted to have kids, only after I was married, and now that we finally are, I've allowed myself to start thinking more in depth about it, and I had an inconvenient realization. I could not bring a child into this situation without seeing things change in his behaviour. Well, he has this one bad habit. Our relationship is not inherently verbally abusive. I mean, that's a red flag in the start, isn't it, really? When you're making excuses for the bad behaviour and going, oh, well, yeah, he does this one thing, but it doesn't mean he's actually bad. Normally it does, though. It really does. If you find yourself making excuses for people like that and turning yourself in circles trying to justify their behavior, that is normally a big old sign that their behavior is pretty wrong. So, I'm having trouble finding resources and stories from others who have been in similar situations. I feel like if this is going the way it's going, I have a personal experience that I can certainly share and is definitely a cautionary tale. The good. He is a great provider. He would be a very fun dad. He is very generous and supportive. I love him. He loves me. The bad. He makes jokes that are hurtful and make me feel a fundamental lack of respect. I'm fine, but when I imagine me as a child growing up with a father like him, I just can't even fathom how broken I would be. I know I need to address this before having kids. We have had conversations about this in the past, and it's just who he is, not aimed at only me, and I am a very sensitive person. The problem, how can I have a conversation about this with him? I'm not perfect, so why is it okay for me to point out his flaws? Is there a playbook here? A guide? I just can't stand feeling like I'm issuing an ultimatum or holding him hostage. And I feel so awful that I didn't have the insight or personal awareness to address this before we got married. I'm struggling to frame this in a supportive, us as a team against this issue instead of me attacking him. How do I address this? TLDR, husband has a habit of joking in a way that I've just realised would be hurtful to a child. I want him to change his behaviour before having kids, but don't know how to have that conversation. Okay, I have something to tell you here. He's never going to change. He's never going to get better. He thinks he's fantastic and perfect, and he probably doesn't care. I hate to tell you that. So an ex of mine was exactly like this, would make jokes and banter. And generally, it would usually be along the lines of calling me thick, calling me stupid, saying I'm too much, joking about how I'm too loud or too this, too that, too fat, too ugly, too whatever. And at the time, if I reacted to it, he would say, "It's just a joke. You're taking it too seriously." Would you like to know where that relationship has left me? It has left me with deep, deep insecurities, never wanting to date again, never wanting to trust someone else again, because I don't think mentally I could handle being put down like that again. I can't risk that happening again by someone who I put my trust into, because I genuinely think I was teetering on the edge of total destruction from this person. So I am saying now, if someone's sitting there going, "You're too sensitive, it's just banter," it's not. It's nasty. They know what they're doing and they are trying to tear you down, and they will continue doing it. And if you allow them to continue doing it and stay with them, they will succeed in tearing you down. It will happen. Like I say, I have deep insecurities now, and I'm quite happy to be honest and open about that if it helps somebody else. I am someone who does not like the way they look in the mirror. I am someone who quite often tells myself I am an awful person, or I am stupid, or I do not like my personality. My personality is annoying, or whatever. Add flipping self-insult here. I can tell you I've probably thought it. I bully myself every day because of what that person put in my head, and I allowed them to put in my head over years. So let me tell you now, I did the exact same thing. Telling myself, oh, well, clearly I'm being too sensitive because they say I am. You know, oh, is it me? Making excuses for them. Everyone I knew hated them. No one who cared about me liked them. And I just thought they were all just, being too sensitive and reactive on my behalf. No, they saw what I didn't, because those rose-tinted glasses, mate, my goodness, they are something else. Please, if you have someone in your life that disrespects you like that and brushes it aside with, "It's a joke," cut them out. They are not worth it. And of course, I tell you all of my own story, not to try and get you guys to feel bad for me or anything like that. I'm not about that. I don't like attention. I don't like the theirs. I don't like people being like, "Oh, you poor thing." It makes me feel worse, actually. I don't like it. I tell it as a cautionary tale from someone who's had personal experience, and what will happen if you do continue to put up with it, because it will get you and it will bite you in the bum. And I will also say that I am, dealing with the problem. I've recognized the issue. I'm dealing with it. I'm taking steps to move on from that and gain back a little bit of myself. Starting this channel was part of that, actually. Gaining back a little bit of confidence and gaining back a bit of myself, because this is something that's mine. No one knows I do this. This is mine. No one can say anything negative about it. If some stranger says something negative about it, I don't care. But no one I know that has played a part in my self-esteem issues can tear it down, because they don't know about it. So I just wanted to put that out there in case anyone thought, "Oh no." I hope she's getting help for that. I am. I'm taking steps to, gain back that confidence and get rid of the negative self-image. Anyway, back to the story. Edited to add, "Thanks for the help and concern all. I don't know what this means for me, and it's a lot to process, but I really appreciate so many people sharing their thoughts with me. Not trying for kids, not off birth control, he barely touches me anyways. Under no circumstances would I bring a child into this situation currently." I am very glad to hear that. Very, very glad. So, relevant comments from the OOP. In response to a request for examples of the jokes. "I'm having trouble finding examples because they just really aren't jokes. He only calls them that because he thinks they're funny. You're eating like a fat girl. Just joking. And he didn't call me fat, so I can't justify being upset." Yes, this is exactly the way it happened for me. It was always this way. And then the way they'd argue it, you'd start to question yourself, like, am I insane? Why do I think that's a bad thing then, when they're giving me a logical reason of why it's not a bad thing? No, they meant it in a bad way, love. They really do. Don't fall for it. Don't let them have you second guessing yourself. Laughing when I ask how I look in a new top. It was funny because I had bad posture when I asked him. He wasn't laughing at me, just the situation of me trying to be cute, but asking with poor posture and in an unconfident tone. You're going to tear the house down. Context was I'm opening a cabinet and he wanted to point out with a funny comment joke that I was being too heavy-handed. It was after I had spent days cleaning the house for his mother to visit and I was very distressed. It upset me because I felt like I couldn't do a single thing without criticism. I cried and he got upset that I reacted that way, and that's exactly what he's doing. He's criticizing everything you do to have you second-guessing yourself. This is master manipulation techniques, might I add. This is genuinely someone effing with your head. Like, this isn't just like, oh, they've said an offhand comment that they worded wrong because, maybe they don't have as good a filter as others, which I also think is bullshit, by the way. No, this is some dude genuinely playing games with your head on purpose. In response to someone telling OOP she didn't have to continue to put up with cruel comments and that her not saying anything in the past was not an excuse for her husband to continue. I mean, it kind of is though, isn't it? Nope. If I didn't do a good enough job of identifying it as an issue and putting a stop to it when it first started happening, what right do I have to demand change now that we're married? It feels like a bait and switch. I hate the idea of being a demanding wife. Wow, he's really gotten into your head, hasn't he? Oh, bless you. I just wanted to figure out how to help him see it as an issue so we can both work together to change our behaviours into something that would be a supportive, loving environment for kids to grow up in. I feel like I haven't done my part either. I need to own that. It just isn't who I am, and he loves me for that. I'm not demanding or high maintenance. I think it's less about advocating for myself and more just, it feels unfair for me to ask for this. Nothing has changed since we got married. The only thing that changed was my perception of something that has been a constant in our relationship. It feels like an unfair demand. I just want to make it an us against the issue instead of a me against you or you must do XYZ before ABC. That feels low. We're a team. I just wanted to make sure I'm communicating it in the right way. But I still want to be the cool, strong, supportive wife. I just feel like I messed up here. If this was truly a big issue, I wouldn't have married him. I did. We're here now. And even though I didn't see it at first, I do now. I want to help us both be the best we can be. I'm here and I need to help us both work through this or learn to live with it like I have been. I want kids, but if this can't be the right environment for them, then it's not meant to be. ETA, F. I just don't know anymore. Can't believe I wrote that kids could be out of the picture. I'm struggling to understand all of this. Thanks for your kind words. I can see so clearly through what this guy's doing. Like I say, because I've been there. So where she says, but I want to be the cool, strong, supportive wife, I will guarantee he's been beating her down with these negative comments and then he spoon feeds her these little compliments, which are not compliments. They're things he wants her to do dressed up as compliments. And then she gets this hit of dopamine like, oh my God, he's been nice to me. And this is something he's praising me on. So this is something I should aspire to be more of. So he's basically praised her up for being cool with his crappy behavior. Praised her up for being strong and supportive wife, so that now she feels she can't bring him up on his bullshit. She feels she can't bring him up on anything because that would mean that she's not the cool and strong supportive wife anymore, and she will no longer get those compliments off him. Do you know what I mean? It's such a disgusting manipulative technique and it's so vile. Update 1. Okay, so he's verbally abusive. What now? January 7th, 2022, same post. I have been with my husband for 10 years, married 6 months, posted on an advice sub, and I'm realizing it's a bigger issue than I thought. So what now? I'm having a really hard time digesting all of this. I read Why Does He Do That yesterday, couldn't put it down, and while I see some things that my partner's does, it's not many and it's honestly not often. It really boils down to making mean jokes and unsolicited advice, critiques, that's all. And not all the time. I've been thinking it over for 3 days and he hasn't said anything bad in that time. When he does, it just sticks out in my mind because it's hurtful. Here is what I think I need help understanding. Is it possible that this isn't intentional? Nope, not at all. I don't think it is, to be honest with you, lovey. He learned his behaviours from his mother and has low emotional intelligence. I know that he truly loves me. I can't understand how he could do this on purpose. How is he such a truly great, supportive, kind partner in other ways? Does that outweigh his faults? He is such a great provider. He is supportive of my career and pays all of our expenses, which allows me to work doing what I love. That is a big sacrifice for him, and something he did very intentionally for me. How could someone do that to someone they want to hurt? Because they enjoy it. They enjoy hurting you. So of course they're going to want you to stay around and they're going to make sure that you do. Just as any other abusive partner does. Just because he's not slapping you doesn't mean it's not abuse. Doesn't mean it's not going to get in your head, and it doesn't mean it's not going to destroy you in some way if you continue along this path. Honestly, money and, having nice things and being able to do these things, they're great. But if it comes at a cost of your emotional and mental well-being, it is not worth it. And I would rather start over again from scratch every single time. What if it really truly is me? I am sensitive and insecure. I do make things that are benign about me when I'm feeling down. I know these things are true. Couldn't it be a combination of an awful, outdated, unfunny sense of humour and me being hypersensitive to criticism? I think we both share fault here. No, I mean, I'm not being funny, but the internet and everything is a good old tool these days. A lot more people have a lot more emotional intelligence just because we are very easily connected to so many more people that we can see a far wider reaching sample. So I think you can be a shitty person because you were brought up that way, but it's wrong. These days, it's wrong. We don't live in these isolated groups anymore, So no, I don't believe that he doesn't know what he's doing. He knows what he's doing. Relevant comments from the OOP. In response to someone saying OOP shouldn't have to walk on eggshells around her husband. Oh, geez, I offhandedly said that to him just the other day, that I walk on eggshells around him, more related to other issues than the one here, but still. And he flipped it around completely on me, said that it's the opposite, and he has to do that for me because of my unpredictable emotional response to things, and that I ruin the mood all the time. In response to someone asking about whether she and her husband still have a physical relationship. He barely touches me anyway. Stood out to me. Why doesn't he? What's going on? That's a whole other can of worms. Wish I knew. He's just not interested in me sexually. It was normal at first, less frequent over time, and somewhere in the first few years the jab started. Poking fun at things I say or do in bed, how I move, what I'm wearing, what I want. He really made me think it was me. But I'm not unattractive, I know that. Just for some reason, nothing about me is quite good enough for him. Why did he even marry me if I'm such a disappointment? Anyway, I got on birth control early and it killed my S drive, so I don't feel as rejected all the time. That helps. Honestly, I swear, you could literally just be repeating my story here. This is actually quite uncanny. Very uncanny. It's not you, it's him. He doesn't like you. I hate to tell you this, he doesn't like you. And I'm not saying this to be nasty. I am saying this to open the OP's eyes. Well, the OP's eyes have probably already been opened. This was like years ago. But for anyone else in a very, very similar situation, he doesn't like you. He enjoys getting his kicks out of being mean to you and having ownership over you, but he does not like you. Commenter, I think maybe you need to ask yourself some questions, like, are you happy with this person? Is it worth having them around? Does the bad outweigh the good, or is it the other way round? Oh, and by the way, I just want to point out, in my situation, they did it to their next girlfriend as well. And then that girlfriend ended up leaving them too because of their behaviour. So it clearly wasn't just me. It was them. OOP, parts of both. I love him. I don't feel like I can justify leaving him. Unfunny jokes, infrequent S. I don't know. It doesn't feel like enough. If it makes you feel bad, it's enough, my love. I'm just beating myself up for not realising this until now. in response to a comment encouraging her to analyse her husband's behaviour for signs of intentional manipulation. I'm trying to do the same thing. It all came into focus the other day. He said he was scared I would find someone better and leave him. That second thing started to make sense. I don't want to admit it because it's so painful, but I think he does do it at least partially on purpose. It works so well too. I believed everything he said for so long. And then update 2, January 12th, 2022, 5 days later. Okay, I talked to my therapist, who I was seeing because husband had me believing I had emotional regulation and communication problems. Came armed with research and concrete examples of his manipulative, controlling, and demeaning patterns. She was supportive, but firm, recommended I reach out to my local DV organisation to help me work out a safe exit plan and get legal aid regarding the divorce. She said sooner rather than later, and I trust her, but I am stunned. I feel like my whole entire world is upside down. I keep flipping back and forth between, thank God other people can see this too, I'm not crazy and it's that bad, and he's my best friend, I'm heartbroken, and he's the only one here for me, he needs me, and I could never leave him. I know I should leave, but I don't know what to do. I just want to talk to him and work it out, and this will all just be one big misunderstanding, right? I'm heartbroken. But if I leave, I'll be alone and also probably won't have kids. And I'll be broken and ashamed. All those conversations, he's going to want me back or want an explanation. I really think that's what I'm hung up on the most. He has so little emotional awareness that I know he won't have any idea what I'm talking about. I know he'll think I'm crazy. I want him to know he's done, but he's not going to. He might not ever understand. We're so happy so much of the time, I don't know if I can do this. Anyways, hi, worst update, but you were all right. For anyone in a similar situation, Lundy Bancroft's "Why Does He Do That" was very eye-opening and described him in ways I couldn't articulate on my own. He fits the profile of the water torturer perfectly. Additionally, very, very helpful these past few days, the hotline, looks like I can't link, but you can search. They have a text or chat service, and for anyone out there like me, it's not just emotional verbal abuse, it's abuse, and they are here to help and support. I spent a few hours over a few days just talking through things with people who really understood, and it was exactly what I needed. Please reach out if it's something you need. TLDR, my husband isn't mean, he's verbally abusive. Don't know what's next. New updates. I'm just exhausted. How am I supposed to get through this? January 22nd, 2022, 10 days later. Yeah, bear in mind as well, this is all happening so fast. This poor OP is probably feeling very blindsided. Just discovered this sub, relieved to have a place to vent to people who would get it. Very recently realised that my 10-year-long relationship is not healthy. No need to go into details because the profile of a water torturer from Lundy's Bancroft, "Why Would He Do That?" fits him like a glove. Cruel, cutting remarks disguised as jokes or helpful comments. Constant criticism. That man could Darvo the pants off of Trump. If I take a step back, it's impressive. All in all, it's taken me completely by surprise. In the last few weeks, I found out that I'm not the source of all our relationship troubles. I'm not a complete F-up of a wife, and none of this is normal. It's a mind F. Now I'm biding time. I have an exit plan, but I'm saving for the next few months before I execute it. It's been about a week. I am effing exhausted. All of that energy I used to spend twisting myself into exactly who I knew he wanted, regulating my reactions, hiding me, it is not enough, not nearly enough. Now that I see this crap in every interaction and spend my time cycling through rage and shame and excitement and mourning, I'm spent. Y'all, I have no idea how I'm going to get through the next few months. I'm so excited to start living again, but I mean, just keep thinking ahead, keep thinking to the future and how good it's going to be without him. That is all I could suggest. Threatening joke, enough for the police. February 7th, 2022, 18 days later. Advice much appreciated. Brief background, my husband's verbal abuse and coercive control have increased over the past decade. I've recently realised the state of this marriage and I'm planning my exit. As I've become more aware of his behaviours and can see things more clearly, it has been harder to maintain my good wife attitude. Yeah, and he's going to notice that. I'm standing up for myself more. I'm growing concerned about my safety, but not sure if the incident today is enough to involve police. He has never been physically violent. Never say never, there is always a first time. Editing me here, I just thought I would add this little gem of information. My ex, obviously the one I spoke about at the start of this, he used to do this thing where he would slap me in the face and then he'd be like, oh, it's just like a banter, you know, like lads do with each other, just like play fighting and what have you. And that was like close to the start of the relationship. I kid you not. I look back on it now, I'm like, how was I so flipping stupid? Because then I said, oh no, if you do that again, I will just break up with you. And then he did stop it. But like, that's how they get in your head. Like, they really get in your head and they make you believe, oh no, it wasn't that bad. And I look back now, I'm like, that dude literally would slap me. It's insane. So anyone who's thinking, oh, you know, why is she making excuses? Why is she not leaving? Because they really do get in your head. Incident. Today, after I had upset him by standing up for myself in a conversation, he talked for at least a full minute about how he would off me as a joke. He said roughly that because I was speaking this way to him lately, he would off me in my sleep. It would be easy because I'm such a sound sleeper. Then went back and said I'm surprisingly strong when I'm asleep. I toss and turn, and that it might give me an advantage. More talk about how easy it would be, then the part that bothered me the most. No, if I'm going to all the trouble of offing you, I'd strangle you while you're awake. This is so concerning. I'd want to see the light leave your eyes. I'd have to get something good out of it. That is a direct threat and should be perceived as such and taken seriously. The fact that it was fairly specific and in direct response to me upsetting him has me concerned for my safety between now and leaving, especially if he finds out or grows suspicious. My gut says it might be worth involving the police and moving up my exit timeline. I think it would, honestly. My concerns and questions. Is what he said legally considered a threat? Is it actionable considering this is just based on my word? What would likely happen if I did choose to report this? Is there any way for me to report this without his knowledge? Edited for clarity. Relevant comments. Honestly, quite often when it comes to like violence, it starts with a joke. It starts with oh, imagine if I did this. Oh, if you don't stop it, I'm going to do this. And then comes the actual actions. So you take it as a direct threat and as if they're telling you they're going to do it, and you act accordingly. So, Car Quian says, NAL, move up your exit date to now. Involving police at this very moment will give him an advantage on you and could anger him more. Get your important documents out of there ASAP and move your funds from your joint account to an account he doesn't have access to. I would also suggest saving your photos from your phone somewhere and doing a hard reset on your phone to ensure he doesn't have phone tracking or that he doesn't have remote access to your phone. Yeah, a friend of mine, their ex did that, had remote access to their phone. And that's, she couldn't figure out how he kept turning up everywhere she was. Change passwords everywhere, but get out now. OOP, thank you. I appreciate the concern and advice. Working on putting a go bag together now with important documents and things I'll need. I'm on high alert and moving up my exit date to, okay, not now, but specifically sooner than I was planning. And then we have little happy update, October 6th, 2022, 9 months since the original post. Hi, I'm not sure if anyone will see this, but I had such an outpouring of support over a whole bunch of subreddits, so I thought this might be the best way to give an update. First, thank you. Thank you all, everyone who reached out with support, everyone who shared their stories, everyone who pushed back and gave me the opportunity to form my own viewpoints and advocate for myself. Without the reality check that came from my posts, I'm sure I would have been stuck in this for much longer than I was already. The update, I'm out. It was a long process, it wasn't linear, and there was so much self-doubt along the way, but I wanted to share the moment that it finally stuck. We had been going back and forth with the divorce. He's doing all the things. He's being the best version of himself. He's improving. Yeah, it's all for show. Lots more details that ultimately aren't important. But he kept asking, "Are you sure?" And I wasn't for a long time. He worked his magic, and I thought that maybe I had made the worst mistake of my life. But he kept asking, and I kept listening to my gut. I tried saying no, let's call this all off and work on us, but that didn't feel good. I felt heavy, like it was putting back on this huge burden that I had just started to get out of. Then I tried saying maybe. I was being honest, I was confused, and I told him that. I said I needed time, I needed space, but that felt restrictive, and it felt like my body was being compressed. And one morning I realised I hadn't tried saying yes yet. I hadn't tried telling him that, yes, I wanted this to be over. So I tried it. I said, yes, let's end this. And it felt like all of the weight was lifted off of me. It felt like I could fill my lungs fully again. It felt like the sort of warmth in your chest that you get when your mum gives you a hug. So it stuck. I'm learning to listen to myself again and to trust my instincts. I'm not judging myself for my path to get here. I'm treating myself with all the compassion and kindness I deserved for all those years. I am on my own path now, and it feels so amazing to be here. So thank you all again for everything. Thank you all for your concern and outreach. I'm happier and healthier than I have been in a very long time. So, down in the comments of the Best of Redditor Updates post, mutual butt squeezing says, "Women before describing the worst marriage you've ever read about. He's an amazing husband in every way." Yeah, it's because they get gaslit to think that way. And then Limitless Megan says, "As someone familiar with abuse, reading those first few posts was viscerally painful for me." Literally, honestly. The trigger warnings at the start, I feel like, were for me. And I should have probably listened and not continued to read on, but you know what, exposure therapy and all that. And also, if you have people asking, why do women stay? Send them this Boru. She so perfectly wrote down the inside of a well-trained victim's brain, and they are deep in the conditioning an abuser has worked hard and well at building. Also, did you notice the ages? She was 21 when they got together, but he was 33. When we on Reddit get alarmed about age gaps, where the younger partner is in their early 20s, this is why, exactly, this is why I always say about it, and go on and on and on till I'm blue in the face. This is exactly why. But yeah, I'm so glad they got out. I'm so glad they finally saw it for what it was, because it will just eat you alive. And it's very hard to recover from that and get back to yourself. Like, the relationship I'm talking about was a good few years ago now. Like, this isn't something that was recent. It's a good few years ago. And I haven't dated a single person since, because I just can't risk that crap happening again. No way. So that shows how massively damaging relationships like that can be. Okay, so I think that's where we're going to leave it for the day. If you give a little like, subscribe, turn your notifications on, I'll appreciate you even more, and that is your initiation into the Cult of Void. Whatever it is you're doing for the day, I hope you have a good rest of the day. Goodbye!